frazzled because she was pretty much trying to balance between the entrepreneurial endeavors and her 9 to 5. And so she felt like she was wearing multiple hats. She was wearing the hat of mother, wife, and the hat more specifically to entrepreneurship and then employee. Like she would be literally putting these hats on every day. And she felt like overwhelmed. She felt um, just depleted because of just the constant tug of all of the demands of life, the demands of her 9 to 5, the demands of running and growing her business as well. And so, in this episode of the Daily Dose, we're going to be talking about how to build your coaching business while working your 9 to 5 and how I guide my clients in doing so. And so, the one thing I said to her, I said, listen, it starts with identity. It really starts with your identity. You have to put on the identity, like get rid of all the extra hats and put on the identity of an entrepreneur. You are an entrepreneur because that is who you desire to be. Your goal is to transition into entrepreneurship full time in your coaching business. And so that is the main hat you need to be operating in when it comes to, at least when it comes to, between your employee hat and your entrepreneur hat. Focus on your entrepreneur hat. That is your identity. It all starts with that. And understand that you are an entrepreneur who's using your 9 to 5 to fuel your business. Okay. You're only going to be an entrepreneur. You're only going to be an employee for just a limited amount of time. You are literally on your journey to becoming an entrepreneur. So you have to think as an entrepreneur. You have to operate and identify as an entrepreneur first and foremost. All right. And so I do have a question for you. Do you feel like you're wearing multiple hats in your business? And how can you bring structure to your business? I want to break that down in this video with you today. This episode of the Daily Dose is literally divine overflow of spirit-led empowerment, and just whatever the Lord puts on my heart to share, I will. And so this is what you're going to get. You're going to get how to build your coaching business while working your 9 to 5. All right. And so what it is you have to understand that what you truly need is structure. And this is what I spoke to my client. She's a new client of mine. And I was saying, you need structure. You need structure because structure is what's really going to facilitate your offer, your marketing, your sales funnel. And these are the 3 main components of your business. You have to have a solid offer as a coach. You have to have market that is converting. You have to have a compelling offer. You have to have converting marketing, and you have to have consistent sales to be able to transition into coaching full time. And for you to have that, all 3 areas, you need structure, and structure is what's going to lead to your freedom. All right. So the longer you try to juggle between multiple hats, both hats, the more energy you waste, the more spinning you're doing instead of scaling your business. All right. And so we're gonna walk through how the way you need to stop juggling and start building. All right. So the way you stop juggling and start building is by taking off the extra hats and putting on just one. And I'm going to walk you through that process with a hat. Okay. It's going to go through hats. And so focusing in on eliminating all the extra hats and focusing on one. So the acronym that I do have for you is HATS. And so the first letter is H, which is to harness structure for safety. So I did touch on this. It's so important to understand that structure doesn't box you in, it sets you free. Structure is what's going to set you free. So right now you're probably sitting at your desk and you're going through a bunch of you have like a to-do list as long as a CVS receipt. You're sitting at your desk, you're looking at all the things you have to do on your calendar. And you're thinking, oh, I got to do content. I got to do this for work. I got to take my kids to baseball practice. I got to cook dinner. I got to do laundry. And you're just thinking of all the things you have to do. Where is my planner? Okay, here's my planner. Inside of this is one of the things that I use to create structure in my life and to help my clients also create structure is your content creation compass. It's a simplified and systemized social media marketing. So not only are you able to structure your days, create systems and flows for your days. But every single day you have like your top 3 goals for the day, and then you have the appointed time, a daily scheduler, you have a weekly plan, it's a monthly planner, weekly planner, daily planner, also content creation. If you're creating YouTube long form videos on YouTube, or if you're creating short form video, there's a checklist in here for each of those, month by month, I'm sorry, week by week, day by day. And so that's one resource. I'll actually try to remember to put it in the description here so that you can have access to that. But that is such a powerful resource to help you to structure your day. But also, you want to think of just how you're going to systemize your week as well, right? Appointing different tasks to different days. And so instead of you jumping from task to task, like you start one thing and then you're like, oh my gosh, I remembered I gotta send the email, and then you jump back to the email, and then you're like, oh gosh, but it's more important for me to create the reel. So then you jump back to the reel, and you're like bouncing around. You're all over the place. There's no structure. And so you dibble in all these areas, and then nothing gets done, nothing gets finished. And that's really a nervous system response. And this is what I help my clients to do inside of the Business by Belief Accelerator. It's really just creating that structure, creating that safety for your body to finish one task at a time. Because when you're operating like that, you are actually in like flight mode. You're like bouncing all over the place, right? And so inside of Business by Belief Accelerator, you build a structured weekly blueprint, content one day, emails the next. So your brain knows what to expect and stops spinning and finally executes. And so we structure out your week so that now you're able to have, okay, you know what you're doing on Saturdays, you know what you're doing on Sundays, hopefully like resting one of those days, right? You make sure you're honoring your Sabbath. And then Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, you're working 9 to 5. Okay, so what are you doing from 5 to 9? Structuring out your time, structuring out the days of your week for specific tasks. So now on Mondays, when you're like, oh gosh, I got to send an email. Nope. You're like, wait, I send my emails on Thursdays. So now you send all your emails on one day. Like literally for me, I set up one day, and it doesn't take me long. I write emails 5 days a week, every Monday through Friday. My email list is getting an email from me every morning, but I set that up in one day. One day I just brainstorm 5 emails, or really, it's really about the week I'm brainstorming my emails, and then I just sit down to write them all out in a few hours. And for a couple hours, I have my email set for the entire week. And so that's on Thursdays. On Mondays, I'm editing reels, right? Editing reels for the week. So I just edit 5 reels for the week, sit down, edit it. That's it, right? And it's like you got to structure your days to fit the season that you're in, right? And knowing like, okay, Mondays I'm doing this, Tuesdays I'm doing this, Wednesdays I'm doing this, Thursdays, Fridays I'm doing this. You're resting, structuring your day. Saturdays I'm like cleaning the house, self-care, whatever, like structuring out your days of the week, systemizing it, and then having those time blocks in your day so that you are now having this weekly blueprint, and you have a system, you have structure. And when you have structure, your brain literally feels so much safer, and you're able to now execute tasks better because your body feels safe. And so this stat that I read, studies actually show that the human brain makes over 35,000 decisions per day. Every time you jump from task to task without a system, your brain is burning mental energy, and this is called decision fatigue. And so it takes so much energy, and it drains your willpower, it increases your stress, and it makes procrastination almost inevitable. Like you're just procrastinating because you don't even know where to start. And so this is why it's so important to have specific tasks for specific days of the week, specific business tasks for specific days of the week, and so forth and so on. And inside of this planner here, you structure your all the things you got to do for work, all the things you got to do for your home, all the things you have to do for your business. You brain dump it, you structure it all out, you prioritize it, and you have appointed time slots for each task. And I'm telling you, this alleviates so much decision making, because you sit down. Like for me, I sit down on a Sunday, and I plan my week. I know exactly what I'm doing each day. I already know what systems I'm doing. If I have doctor's appointment, like my daughter has a doctor appointment tomorrow a dentist appointment tomorrow. So it's like you structure your days out at the top of the week, and then in every day, you know exactly what you're getting done. This, I'm telling you, will bring so much clarity and structure for your day. You'll get so much done. All right. And so that is the first letter is the H, harness structure for safety. We're going to move on to the A. And so the A is to anchor in one offer. Clarity around what you're selling gives your brain rest. And so this is same client. So she has so many beautiful ideas. And I tell her, I'm like, listen, eagle effect. This is what I teach my clients. This is the system and the method that I use, eagle effect. We're aiming for that premium offer, that high ticket offer, the one you're aiming high, you're soaring. The eagle effect is you're soaring, you have a clear vision, you're selling that premium offer first. And then if you feel like you want to, create some other lower ticket offers after, of course. But your premium offer, that is the North Star, that is the goal, that is the vision. That's what's going to get you to your 10K plus months consistently. It's by selling a premium offer. So we focus on one. That is it. The power of one offer. Okay. One offer, one marketing message, and one simplified sales funnel. And we'll go in depth in the other ones soon, but anchor in one offer. Clarity around what you're selling gives your brain rest. Instead of toddling between different pricing and different offers and all these different programs. You want to do a group program, you want a membership, you want this offer for that. It's a lot, and it brings your brain decision fatigue. And so it's really important to, instead of trying to launch everything at once and then end up stagnant because you don't even know where to go, you're chasing two rabbits. Instead of doing that, inside of the Business by Belief Accelerator, we craft your signature offer, your signature framework, and put it inside of a premium offer, one clear program that becomes your North Star, ending the endless guessing game. So you're no longer guessing like, oh, should I leave my clients here or should I leave my clients there? No, all your clients are going to one offer. That is it. Okay. And then you can always, after you are, consistent with this offer and you're scaling it to however much you want to scale it to. If you want to get to maybe 6 figures with this one offer, then when you get there and you're comfortable with where you are, now you can say, okay, let me start breaking down and creating other offers. All right. But it's really important to have that North Star, have that one premium signature offer that you're offering. Okay. And so that brings you structure. And so that's the A, anchor in one offer. Now we're going to move on to the T. And so the T is train your message. You have to have a clear message. A clear message cuts through noise and decision fatigue. So when you are marketing to that one offer, you have that one message. You have one message where you're saying it. Marketing is just saying the one message in 20 different ways, right? 20 different angles. You're approaching the same message, the one message to your offer, but you're doing it in many different ways. That is marketing. That is the beautiful thing about marketing. And so this is why inside of the Business by Belief Accelerator, I teach you how to master story selling messaging. So you can pull stories. Like I literally at the top of this, I'm literally pulling a story from a coaching call I had last week, right? And so master story selling messaging so you can sit down, write with confidence, and publish without spiraling. Finally consistent, finally visible. So when you know your message, you're no longer spending 3 hours trying to write one post. You're no longer deleting your post halfway through or creating something and then letting it sit and draft because you're like, oh, I don't know if that sounds right. I don't know if it's making sense. I don't know if it's going to the right offer. I'm telling you, this process brings so much clarity, so much structure to your business, to your life and your business. All right. And so you don't have to worry about your messaging not sounding right or not going to the right offer because now you have such a seamless flow, such a seamless structure when it comes to your offer. You know exactly what you're selling. your premium offer. You know exactly the messaging that your clients need to hear to get into that offer. You're painting the picture of the transformation they're going to see. And then that's when you're going to lead. So that is the T, train your messaging, right? So from your offer to your messaging. And now finally, the S is to simplify a sales system. Okay, simplify sales systems. So systems replace stress. When you have a system in place, systems for your messaging, systems for your offer, systems for your sales, when you have a simplified sales funnel, it allows your clients to come in seamlessly. It allows consistent sales coming in because your clients are no longer jumping through hoops. You're not refreshing your DMs 20 times a day. You're not praying that someone bites or comments, because now you have a sales flow, you have a system, you have marketing that's working for you around the clock, even while you're resting, right? And so you don't have to feel chained to Instagram or TikTok. You don't have to feel like a slave to the algorithm, because now you're setting up a system, a sales system flow that actually converts and actually works. And so inside of the Business by Belief Accelerator, we're going to build out a simplified sales funnel that delivers aligned clients while you're making dinner, while you're at your kids' games, while you're resting, while you're watching and snuggled up with your husband, watching TV. Like, sales are coming in consistently. Your business works with you, not against you. And the beautiful thing about the way we set this up is you're actually attracting in premium leads, quality leads. You're actually speaking to buyers, not browsers. And I feel like that's coming up in my spirit. I feel like I'm going to do a live about that. The difference between speaking to a browser, and I had a whole analogy about this 2 days ago. But there's a difference between speaking to browsers, window shoppers, and speaking to actual buyers who are ready to buy. There's different languaging that we use. And so it's so important for you to understand how to market your message, how to activate buyers into your world. Okay, you're not speaking to browsers. All right, you're speaking to people who are actively looking for a solution to their problem. I'm telling you. So inside of the Business Belief Accelerator, I'll help you to ditch the split identity between employee hat and the entrepreneur hat, and anchor in one clear business structure, and finally grow with peace and profitability. I help you to transition into coaching full time without chasing clients, without fighting the algorithm, without self-sabotaging, and without sacrificing time with your family, with your loved ones. Because, hey, this is why we're building out your business in the first place. All right. And so this is what we do inside of the Business by Belief Accelerator. And I'm going to walk you through this HATS acronym again, because the way to stop juggling and start building is by taking off all the extra hats and putting on just one. Okay. And we're going to do this through the HATS acronym. And so the H is to harness structure for safety. The A is anchor in one offer. The T is train your message, right? One message to one offer, and simplify sales systems, because systems replace the added stress. And so you don't have to be worried about what are you saying? What are you doing? What are you offering? Nope. It's all going to be structured. Structure is what's really going to bring you the freedom that you desire. All right. Structuring your weeks, your days, your mind, your offer, your messaging, your sales flow. It's all structure. Structure is not boring. Structure is what brings you the freedom that you want. All right. The freedom that you're working towards. I heard one of my mentors say that he says, boring brings you billions. He's a billionaire. Boring brings you billions. And it doesn't always, boring meaning the structure. It's the same repetitive things you're doing every single day, right? The repetitive things you're doing week after week is the boring stuff that brings you billions. All right. And so I pray that this has blessed you, but this is exactly how to build your coaching business while working 9 to 5. All right. I love you. I'm going to jump off of here. Before I go, I'm going to tell you, just as God told me, put one foot in front of the other, step out on faith, and trust God for the next step. I'll see you in the next live. Bye.